Alrighty, just gonna adjust a little bit, but yeah, we are back in action for the last part of our. I don't know how long this is going on, but yeah, um,
1,000,000 hours
1 million hours later. But yeah,
later.
um, yeah. So there is Apex, and yeah, what other roles would you say that? I know you've probably named a couple of them earlier, but what are some of the other roles that really mean a lot to you personally
Hell yeah.
for different reasons? Yeah.
If, if I mean, I probably the most meaningful roles that I've gotten the opportunity to play, in the anime space at least, have been the one I'm currently working on, Loki in Kamikatsu. Was an amazing role. They're originally voiced by Megami Ogata, who is who has just the most amazingly deep range. Uh, and is such a cool role because so like Megami has some amazing like powerful roles under their belt, like Shinji and Ava and Yuta and JJK, and plays a lot of boys, but also can play these really amazing sultry lower voiced women as well. And in Kamikatsu, spoilers for Kamikatsu, really early spoilers. Um, the character gets introduced as a male character named Clen, just kind of like this regular like farmer guy who's like a cool farmer who's like just minding his own business, and then transforms, and you realize that it's actually the trickster goddess Loki. And so being cast to play a character that can switch between a male and a female form and being able to do both instead of casting two actors is super cool. um, Probably one of the other biggest roles to date that I've had the opportunity to play as someone who doesn't frequently book like headlining roles was in Requiem of the Rose King. I have a big Shakespeare background, and that's an anime based on Shakespeare's Richard III. And I got to play the Duke of Buckingham, which was an amazing role, and also the deepest voiced dude I have ever voiced. It takes a lot of warm up, but he lives like all the way down here in all of his lines. And I don't know why they thought of me for that, but I rose to the occasion. Um, and he is super cool. Obviously, like being able to be a part of titles like My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball Super, even to a tiny extent, has been really meaningful. Um, Demaria Yesta, which was one of the first roles that I got to play in Fairy Tale, was one of the first times I got to play just like a female character. Not like I went through this phase where they were booking me as like these big muscular, like massive, like if it looked like they drew like a male wrestler but then gave them lipstick, they would cast me. But Demaria was just a badass like warrior chick, and they decided that she should have my voice, and for that reason she means a lot to me. She also looks a lot like a character that I used to play in World of Warcraft. Like it looks like a character I would roll up in a game, which was really cool. And then, video games. I love that I've had the opportunity to work on some amazing video games, and people don't always know it's me when they hear me. Like, I've played three characters in Smite now. One of them is female, two of them are male. So you can hear me as right now as the cosmic traveler Cleodna. But you can also hear me as Alpak Necromancer. And you can hear me as, Cupid Deadnought. Cupid Deadnought, who's very like Invader Zim. And it's cool to get to do that. Tiny Tina's
Oh,
Wonderlands, I say, would be the last one because Joel McDonald, who directs for the Borderlands and Tiny Tina's casts, gave me three insanely different things to do. I get to play the female assassin, who sounds like me, but angry. I get to play the cabin boy, who's like this tiny little, like pint-sized skeleton who's dancing around singing. And the one that no one catches is the Elder Wyvern, who is this dragon locked away in a furnace and has this really deep smaug, like, long have I lain in these chains. And that got to be me too, and no one freaking knows it's me. So yeah,
man.
I've done some cool stuff. I hope to do many, many more things as we go from here.
That is a really impressive lore register, man.
Yo, let's
Yes, it just
go.
shows if people don't recognize you, you're doing something right. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and people don't usually think of it. And so it's so meaningful
Yeah.
when someone hears this voice and they're like, I wonder what she would sound like as a giant dragon.
Yeah.
And give me a
I,
chance to do that. Like
I
that's
don't.
what's so important is giving us a shot
I
to
know.
try.
Yeah. There was one character I played who had this really deep, like, baritone to them because, like, for me, I play, like, a lot of characters that are kind of, like, sitting, like, medium, low register, but, this character was, like, really, really deep. Like, I don't know if, like, that was a good example, but it's, like, kind of sits in the chest area. So it's kind of,
Older.
like, really deep, older characters. So I don't really play characters that are, like, down here in this register.
I
Yeah.
bet you fit a younger sound a lot, so I bet getting cast as an older character is like a curveball for you.
Yeah, I don't really play characters that sound like this. So, yeah, I don't really play characters that sound like that. I
I
usually play
love
like,
talking to Mark
yeah.
Allen Jr. because that's a lot of his story as well. I think that you'd have a lot to relate on because he's
Oh
always been someone
yeah,
who has
because
this young, very youthful
I
sound, and
play
that
like
really
young
plays that.
characters a lot of times. I got to do creature voices, and let me see, what's a good example? It's like, so it's kind of like that. Oh, did you pick it up?
One more time.
It's like, it's kind of like, yeah, the zoom
Zoom
is
is
kind of really
killing it,
funky.
but I'm hearing part
It's
of it.
like, "Ah!" Yeah, so it's kind of like getting to do the creature and like the bird sounds like "Ah!" it's always like kind of a lot of fun. I know Zoom is kind of horrible at picking up sounds, but yeah, getting to do
I
like that
respect.
deep
I tend to
throaty,
run the other
yeah,
direction from creature voices, so I think that's really cool that you do that.
yeah, it's kind of like this deep guttural sound that I got cast for, and let me tell you, it destroyed my voice after a while, but it was so much fun, and I just really loved doing those sounds. And like I said, like I play like a lot of young characters, so getting to do like stuff that is like out my wheelhouse, and that's what I really love. It's like playing characters that are kind of out of your wheelhouse, doing something that's like radically but you definitely want to respect like the character's intentions, like the script and stuff like that, but playing a take that is like, okay, what is something that I can give to them that might surprise them in a good way? Just throwing like many different options and throwing stuff at a wall to see what sticks. That's always fine. Like doing something they that you expect them to hear, then doing something that may catch them off guard, but in a good way. Because it's kind of like, doing something that and like we were talking about earlier, like experimenting with different roles, characters, and what you could do. And I know that with that last one that you did, that was like something that not too many people really expected, but it's like you still pulled it off. So getting to play characters that are like kind of definitely way like in the opposite direction of what you usually get cast for, it's honestly some of the most fun characters that you could play, and it's something that's a lot of fun, you
I
know?
mean, I live in this range a lot,
Yeah.
and I am often happy to live in this range because it's easy for me. It's very comfortable, and that means it's going to be less stressful on my voice. But I totally get excited if they cast me as something crazy and out of left field because I'm like, I can't wait to show people that I can do this.
Yeah. And also another time I played like this character that's like it's kind of like this orc gremlin type of character, and he had a voice like this, "Come with me, my child."
I've spent a
It's
lot of
like
time
really
like
deep. Yeah.
practicing. I feel like one of the titles that that sort of originated a lot of what became like the archetypes for some of these games is like your Warcraft universe. And like
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time looking at those classic archetypes and being like I'll be in the booth just playing and I'll give myself like a pitch pipeline, like when you give yourself a line that helps you find the voice. And I can't tell you how many times I've started a character read by being like, okay, Loktarogar, and then I'll go
Yeah.
from there and I'll deliver the lines. And like I'm not reading for Warcraft, but like that helps me find that
Yeah.
zone and that world. Their worlds have defined so much of what at least I hear in my head sometimes when I look at fantasy worlds, you know? Like
Yeah.
you have your Tolkien's, but you also have your Warcraft has defined a lot of like how I hear
Yeah.
goblins and orcs and elves in my head.
Yeah. And even in the same project, because I was like, I played a character like this! And then I also did one that's more like kind of like, what are the character archetypes where it's like, oh, hello, I wasn't expecting to see you. Oh, I'm so pretty.
That was a
In
fun
the
learning
same
experience for me.
project, yeah.
That was a fun learning experience for me because I still do this now, but there are different lenses through which you can do the following. Is when I was less confident in myself as a performer and was struggling to
Yeah.
find my place. I do spend a lot of time thinking about like if I see a role, who else I could hear doing that role. And there was a period in my life where I would be like, oh, well, this is kind of like a Colleen Clinkenbeard role. And so insecure me would kind of get caught up in the booth going like, all right, this is me doing Colleen Clinkenbeard doing this role. And it's been wonderful to eventually find myself to a place of confidence in my career where I know that there's a place for me in this work too. And so now what I'm doing is I'm giving them me and my version of this, but you can still somehow occasionally pull inspirations where like, I'll see a role and I'll be like, oh, this is like such a Richard Horowitz kind of Invader Zim, kind of like
Yeah.
zany off the top, really high voice. And but now I don't approach it as Meli trying to impersonate Richard. I see that and I'm like, okay, inspiration. Now let me take a whole lot of me and
Yes,
turn it into something
exactly.
original that comes from me. Um, Real quick, Monkey Kid, hugely important role for me. And I got
Ooh,
to play the Golden
yeah.
Pang in the
Okay.
new season 4. And I play opposite some titans in this industry. And I feel super insecure. Like I feel like I'm a child hanging out with
I know it's
adults.
like, what? Oh
But I'm
my
in there
gosh,
with
I'm,
Chris Sabat and Johnny Bosch and Sean Schemmel, and I'm like, why am I here? What am I
dude.
doing here? But that's a perfect example because that's a character that when the auditions originally went out, do you know what they said they were looking for? They said they were looking for Frieza, basically.
Oh,
And
that's
as
an
I was
interesting one.
developing the character with them, I found that I took elements of, because we always take inspiration. A lot of it is me, but it's me with a little bit of Frieza and a little bit of like Mark Hamill's Joker. And then you swirl it all up together. So you have Frieza like moments where you have your like nasal male, like, oh, but then you have the guttural jokery parts of like, can the demon child come out and play? But then there's
I
me in
can
there
totally
too.
hear
So like
Joker. Yeah.
I'm on the shoulders of giants, but I'm making it my own. So it's
Yeah.
not Melly being, Chris Ayres, rest in peace, or Mark Hamill. It's Melly
Yeah.
using those incredible performances as inspiration and as muse to create something wholly original that is
Yeah.
Pang.
Yeah. I just saw this in the
Similarly,
show.
by the way,
Yeah.
if you listen to different parts of Dragon Ball Super, Kitella, you'll find moments where I took inspiration from Peridot from Steven Universe. There are moments where I took inspiration
Oh, okay.
From Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, wow.
Like you take little bits and pieces and you put it into your
Yeah.
own toolbox. Yeah, there's a moment that people riffed on with Catella because Catella has a moment where he literally screams like, "All you did was lose our team of men, you clod!" And there's like a very Ren like at the end. I hear Ren in my head when I did it, where Cattell is threatening the rest of the universe because they're about to delete him, and he's saying, if I have to go, I'm taking all of you with me. And there's just this Ren like moment of like, I'll show you. And in my head, I'm hearing, you idiot. It's so fun to do that. I'm sure you've heard actors say before, a bad impression can suddenly become a really brilliant original
Yes.
character. There you go.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of times where, like, if I'm in an audition, I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna steal something. Like, okay, let me just take something from Tom Kenny or take something from like Rob Paulson, just get that Yakko Warner type of esque energy into it, and then even if I didn't book it, it's the choices that you make that are just like a lot of fun. And I know they say focus on bringing the best authentic you into each role, but it's like for me, I'm taking inspiration from some of my favorite performances and then I'm tweaking it a bit and molding it into, I mean, you could say I'm stealing from the best, which is what I'm essentially doing.
Oh yeah.
I'll just do a take that's like, that's normal, and then I'll do one that's like, I guess I might as well just do Yaka Warner, hello, nurse, and then just tweak it a little bit, and then just add in a little bit of that snarkiness in there, and then boom, character, original
And that's
character,
the
do not steal.
difference.
Yeah,
That's the difference between, doing it as an impression where like who cares? They already have that actor. They can go get that actor. But being able
exactly.
to use that as kind of like one of your jumping off points as you're looking at your palette of inspirations because we are all the people that came before us and
Yeah,
taking those little elements and putting them in your toolbox and like stirring them together and creating something new, but like
Yeah,
still having that inspiration there, kind of like informing the reads. I think that, that's what you're doing, it is doing it the right way, because then you're making it Robert Jackson's version,
yeah.
original character inspired by incredible performances that came before you. And all of the
Hi.
best do that.
This
I mean,
is
look at
Robert.
look at the number
Yeah.
of people that have recreated characters based on, if you know this, Peter Lorre, old
Yes,
school
Peter.
actor.
Please.
Yes,
Yes.
who did
Yes, my
incredible work
master.
in film and has been the foundation for so many characters across
Ren.
animation and video games for decades.
Yeah, going back to Ren Hoek, basically Peter Lorre,
Hmm.
with some tweaks, of course. Like I was just doing like recordings of like, okay, how would this sound like if I was doing like I don't know, like what if I was doing Eddie Murphy, or if like if I was doing like Chris Rock or all these Saturday Night Live comedians, like, hey, I'm Robin Williams all of a sudden, hey, hey. And
Hmm.
then, taking all of these, hi, I'm Troy McMord, just take inspiration from a lot of, I take inspiration from comedians that I've seemed to notice, and also, and even take characters that I know from people that I know personally in my life, family, friends, so the sky imagination, like imagination, we use our imaginations a lot. We are like big kids in a playground. I think Richard Horvitz was like saying like, okay, I'm Lex Luthor, like you will not I will stop you, Lex Luthor. Like I know for Superman they want like a more like how can I put this? So I know that Richard Horvitz, you probably won't hear him as Superman, but it's like it's plain pretending. You're acting. Like if they want a Superman that is like has this nice, texture to the voice, they get Crispin Freeman. Or if there's Porky Pig, or if there's like a zany, wacky character, like
He
you
ended up
get
playing
Richard
Martian
Horvitz or
Manhunter,
Bob
didn't he?
Bergen. I'm sorry?
So the Crispin Freeman ended up playing Martian Manhunter, didn't he? Or no, did he go Superman? He wanted Martian Manhunter, but he got Superman. Is that how his story
I
worked?
Maybe. I mean, trust me, there's like a lot of roles where like I know that he was in a Hayao Miyazaki movie and he wanted to play like oh, okay, going back to the trans there was like a actual trans actor that ended up playing that character and Crispin wanted to play that character, but he got the father. So it's like it
Right.
stuff sometimes it can work out for the better because like, authenticity, and it was wonderful, I really give hats off to everybody. I mean, all the Miyazaki films have stellar voice acting. So this kind of brings me to my next question, and I promise we'll get to the end of this. What are some of your favorite
Yeah.
media like that you like to consume? Like whether it be through if you wanted to listen to great performances or just because you just enjoy you know, and
I mean,
stuff.
I don't have enough time to watch things because I'm usually home
Yeah,
alone
fair.
and working on it. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm a sucker for fantasy and adventure. So like, and also I should say I'm also such an easy mark for a good, like, exciting, fun fantasy movie. I'm often the person who, like, even when there are movies and stuff that people get really critical of, I might still have a list of things I would do differently, but it's really easy for me to have fun. I just love the stories, you know? So like I I was always that kid growing up who, like, I went back and I saw the Star Wars prequel movies like 6 times each when all my friends were making fun of them,
Mm,
because I was like, but it's Star Wars. Like it's so cool even when there are things that don't strike. I had fun in all of the Star Wars sequels, and I have like a
Star
giant list
Wars.
of things I would rewrite. I still had fun. I
Mm,
still had fun.
yeah.
Um, I've watched a ton of the CW shows. I love the CW Flash and Arrowverse. I think that stuff is so fun, and I love the way they have such wild tonal differences between, like, the really dark, gritty world of the Arrow, and very, like, kind of like fun, sort of like, I don't even know what to call it. Kind of like, my brain wants to say, like, chewing gum, and like the playground, like theme park aspects of the Flash. Um, I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I've been just consuming all of the new Disney Plus shows. I don't necessarily go to them for life-changing performances. but occasionally something will catch me by surprise. I just finished Andor recently, and
I've heard
that
so much
has
about it.
some of the most connected, grounded, amazing character work that I've seen in any of those shows. It's very quickly surpassed a lot of the other shows as a favorite of mine because, like, as an actor, I get really impressed when I see people be able to carry a scene. Like, there are some scenes in that show that are riveting, and it's just two people in a room talking to each other, but they're so connected to the scene, and then they play it up with the music that it just grips you by the heart, and you're like leaning forward the whole time bracing, and
Oh
not a laser blaster gets fired, not a lightsaber gets drawn. And there are plenty of shows that do that well, and that can be fun too, but like, yeah, it's like those unexpected surprises. Andor is an incredible, like, actors show with incredible scene work and character development and dialogue. And then if I want to watch things blow up and have fun and like kick it back with some popcorn, I throw on Mandalorian or one of the CW shows, and I just watch things blow up, and I have a lot of fun watching that too.
yeah. So I feel like we've discussed everything. It's like, what else is there to even discuss about at this point? Because we've pretty much talked about everything here. Um, I guess you could just share or promote like any. I know you've probably talked about a lot, and I know it's the tricky thing of like not saying anything that's under NDA, but feel free to promote and share what
The most fun
what you
part
want the
about being an
audience to check
actor is that,
out.
like, we
Yeah,
spend we spend a lot of time lying to our fans because they have really good ears,
yeah.
but we're still under NDA and the embargo hasn't lifted yet. So like when
So
I when I announced Smite, I had like 30 people be like, "You're the Cosmic Traveler, right? You're the Cosmic Traveler." And I'm like, "Oh, did they release something?" And then weeks later I'm like, "Yes, you misfits freaking knew. Like, yes, you knew, but I had an NDA, so that's why I played dumb."
uh,
um yeah, catch me all the time in Apex Legends as Catalyst, the grim trans witch your parents warned you about. You can watch me on Crunchyroll right now in Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world as the trickster Loki. Um, I just released Cosmic Traveler Cleodna and Smite. If you play Smite, it was like one patch after the big V Shoujo release. Um, and I stream all the time. I'm eventually going to probably change my handle because I made it a long time ago. But on twitch.tv, you can catch me on twitter.com/melizand, Melizande, or twitch.tv/Angry Meli, ANGRYMELI, and I stream 5 days a week. There is not a schedule. I wing it, but I try to be as consistent as hell because I'm building an empire. I've got a whole bunch of little amazing misfits that turn up every night to watch and support me. And I'm also pre-debut, which means eventually uh there's gonna be a whole new brand and IP that I'm creating, and we're slowly putting together the pieces of that. And I'm excited, and I hope that people like it and accept it and like me. I don't know. We'll see. The space has been really, really encouraging, and I want to do more with that. So I'm hoping that those two sides of my life can inform each other. That I can reach people through my work streaming and VTubing, and I can bring them to my page and introduce them to all the other awesome work I'm doing as an actor. And I hope that as I continue to work on more titles, I can bring all of those fans into the fold and have them join the family and start turning up for streams, and I hope that can become a cyclical thing and we can all become one big happy empire.
yes, I just wing it too. You're not like a spontaneous, whatever, spontaneous like energy. Um,
The number of
but
streams I start that are literally me just being like, all right, I'm here. I've got dinner. Let's do this.
okay, yo, what's good, y'all? I'm here. Let's play a game. um, and we could potentially see like any future upcoming convention appearances, with everything that
For
you're doing
sure.
right now. Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. The convention scene can be strange sometimes. Like if you don't have a
Yeah.
Funko Pop, they can be a little cold. But I'm doing my legwork. If
God.
you are interested in meeting me in person, I only have so many spoons and I can't write every convention in the world. But one of the most powerful things that you can do as fans is reach out and ask. Because if enough people reach out and they're like, yo, can we get Catalyst's VA to this convention? They'll probably write me and I will say yes. I'm saying it now because every time I stream, someone's like, "Would you ever consider coming out to?" And I'm like, "Yes." If they ask me, talk to them because if they ask me, my answer is yes.
Yeah, just bug them and riot. I'm kidding. Don't actually do that. But just ask them. No harm in doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, totally. And let's see, you've promoted all your stuff. Any last words that you want to leave us out on? Any last bit of wisdom?
No, I'm not trying to be anyone's role model here. I'm just a weird kid from New York doing my best, playing video games and occasionally getting to lend my voice to them. Listen, I really appreciate you having me. I appreciate you making the time
Yeah.
to set this up. This was a lot of fun. It was great chatting with you. Thanks for putting up with my like 20-minute long answers. This has been great.
I mean, it's all good. Seriously. And I hope that LA has been treating you pretty well. I mean, I know it can be a nightmare, especially with everything going on, like inflation and everything else. Man,
Living's expensive
yeah.
as hell, but it's been really nice to me so
Yes.
far. I mean, like if all things were equal and I knew that it was not going to impact my career at all, I would be back in New York in a heartbeat.
Oh,
But I love. I mean, I'm really loving LA so far, and the people I've met out here, the friends I've made, the studios I've had the good fortune of working with have all been really, really cool. And I hope that they continue to be nice to me. I've had a very warm welcome, so I'm hoping to keep the momentum going.
yeah, you can say that again because it's very warm today. So you're, you know, I guess it's like, what a coinky dink. Let me see. Any last words like outro,
Yeah, LA
closing?
bunnies.
Right on.
Live from New
Represent.
York. It's Saturday night.
Do,
No, I
do,
have
do,
nothing.
do.
Thank you again.
Yeah. And then I played the horn. Do, 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 do. Anyways, live from LA, it's Station Square. Boom, there you go. That's my outro. So, thank you for listening. And yeah, to everybody that I've met this weekend at Sonic Revo, hope everybody had a wonderful time. Like, I love Sonic, like, in case you could already tell. And yeah, if you, if I'm not in there, like, screaming my guts out or just making weird noises for money, I am doing this. And I also write. And a bajillion other things. I procrastinate. I play video games. I do everything, whatever else in between. I eat, sleep, and shower. I guess that's my little outro. So thank you once again, and be sure to catch all three parts on YouTube and social media and stuff. I'm Mystic IRJ. I'm pretty much Robert Jackson everywhere. And yeah, have a good weekend. Imagination. Ah.
We
Shh.
did it.
Mm.